Hi, everybody. This is Julissa. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming here to my YouTube channel or listening in the podcast. So I gotta tell you something. I apologize if you're watching the video of this, but I had an issue with my light, and that's why it seems perhaps a little dark. But I just learned about something just now, and it really made me upset because the way that the world is right now, they're celebrating Satan basically this whole weekend. It's April 29th, the whole weekend in Massachusetts, I believe. They're celebrating Satan, and people are gathering to praise the kingdom of darkness, basically. So when you see something of what I'm going to speak to you guys about today, when you see something like this happening, it's such a disappointment to see that people who believe in Jesus are actually doing this, right? These are the moments that we, as a Church of Christ, should be getting ready and preaching the gospel more than ever, right? Using everything that we can to tell people to reach the world to tell them about Jesus and Jesus' return, to be the light of the world. And now we learn about this church in Kenya, who a very well-known pastor, two of them are involved in this massacre. Okay, and like I said, the world is such a it is in such a need for God, because when you see that they're celebrating Satan in a conference where basically it's all about Lucifer, which is so shocking to see happening right here in the US. And then you hear about this church, Christ believing church in Kenya, who is basically starving their members to death, just as it sounds, right? So yeah, it makes you like, it really got me upset because I remember, when I was younger, telling my coworkers, "Hey, you want to go to church?" And they're received, man, not just randomly telling them, right? You have to have a relationship with them first, right? They're like, "Oh, they're just after your money. Oh yeah, I don't go to that." Or I know somebody who goes to your church and they do that and they go to the other. So yeah, sometimes, guys, we are the only Jesus that people will see, and they judge according to what they see us do, right? So we have to be so careful about our testimony, right? So what I'm talking about, this church in Kenya, and I gotta say, it could be very graphic. I'm gonna read to you guys some articles that I found. I just did a quick research before I came here and did this, because I feel like a lot of people in the US are not really talking about this, right? And this is the time where we need to get right with God, because just as in the Bible says, on the last day, there are people who are going to come to Jesus and going to say, "Didn't we prophesy? Didn't we cast out demon?" And God is going to turn around and look at them and say, "Depart from me, I never knew you." And people who don't know Christ, who go to the Satan conferences that is happening this weekend, they don't know anything about, prophesying and casting out demons, right? Who are the people who know that? The people who believe in Jesus, right? So if you have a verse in the Bible that's basically telling you what's going to happen, and God is going to say to people, "Depart from me, I never knew you," we need to start paying attention, because God knows everything that we do, and He knows our intentions, right? And He knows that we're not fooling anybody, right? If you think you're just going to build the biggest church like this pastor there in Kenya, he basically built the biggest church known in that area that can sit 45,000 people. And in that same premises, behind the church, they discover in the forest that some of these members are being told to go into the woods, right? Go into this magic fast, including children, and you can get closer to God. And some of them, the police were called, right? And some of them died. The count is already at 90. They found over 100 people behind this church. Okay, some of them already dead, because they were told by a pastor who does conferences, right, in the name of Jesus, who preaches to people, who sings and have worship music, all of that stuff, all the church stuff, who they were told by a pastor, two of them, right? Because one basically went to the police and already turned himself to the church. The other one got arrested 2 days ago or something like that. And they were told that the way, if they fast and they do all these things, they will get closer to God, to the point that this fast was called the starvation fast. That's why some of them were dead, some of them were able to be rescued, but like I said already the count is up to 90 bodies that the police was able to find. And this is such a slap in the face, guys, because we as the church, we should be preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ, right? The work is done already, right? Getting closer to God, Jesus already did that for us. So when you're telling people, because this guy, this Pastor Mackenzie, right? And I'm gonna tell you exactly who I'm talking about. He has the top, I think it's called the 6 demands that he gives his followers in order to be part of his church. This is articles that I have found. Um, excuse me, right? It says here, Pastor. Let me just read to you guys before I get too deep into this. It's already at 6 minutes. Um, Pastor Mackenzie sets demands to his follower, and it says here circumstances under which Kenyan pastor Paul Mackenzie lured his followers to death remain in mystery even as authorities continue to discover more bodies in his vast 800-acre land. By Tuesday evening, this has happened this week, just this week, the last week in the month. By Tuesday evening, 9 bodies have been exhumed from the Chakahola forest, including those who died after police raided the area. The pastor is a man of interest to many who have been gripped in horror about the events that happened at the Good News International Church under the stewardship of Pastor Mackenzie. It has emerged that the now trending pastor, who was a taxi driver in Malindi before he received his calling, had demands that his followers listen to this. This is the pastor telling you the things that you can do in order to be part of the church that he calls the Church of Christ. But these are his demands, right? Remember that verse that I said, when Jesus is going to turn around and say, "Depart from me, I never knew you." And they're gonna say, "But we did all this work. We did everything, right? We cast out demon, right? We prophesy in your name." Jesus is gonna be like, "I don't even know who you are." So it says here, it has emerged that the now trendy pastor, who was a taxi driver in Malindi before he received his calling, had demands that his followers had to meet to be part of those who wanted to make the journey to meet their maker through fasting. Okay, I have seen some photos already of some children before and after, guys. It breaks my heart because you know that there were families, like fathers were coming out and saying, "My family went to church and I haven't seen them since." And their family were found dead in the forest behind the church. What type of bloody sacrifice was this? What type of sacrifice were these people making? Let's just call it for what it is, okay? So I seen some photos of the children before and after, and children that age, any age, right? They're asking their mom for food, and imagine the mom trying to make the mom who also is fasting to starvation, you know, telling the child, "I can't give you any food because we have to get closer to God." Like, I don't even know, like, what this is what the devil is doing. He is doing this and like that so that the Church of Christ gets gets the bad reputation. And that's why so many people are so like, "I don't want to go to church, I don't know what it is." And then some of these churches out there, they're looking just like the world. Mike Todd's Easter. Like, what is going on? Mike Todd's Easter Sunday service? And then this church in Kenya, the biggest church over there, is killing its member to starvation, telling them the 10 things that they cannot do. And then you have a conference the whole weekend in Massachusetts to celebrate Satan. Look at the mess that we're in right now, guys. And people are not even talking about this. Nobody's talking about it. Like, you have to really research it before you even know what is happening. These are the moments that we need to watch and pray. The Bible says you have to watch and pray. These are the moments that, these are the ends of time. This is why it's so crazy right now. So many people are going to be deceived. This is a cult. When a pastor is demanding you to do these things, a pastor has built a cult. Okay? So it says here, some of the requirements. It says stop children from going to school. Okay, burn all school certificates. What type of ceremony is that, to burn all your school certificates? Women were not to shave. Sick people were not to be taken to the hospital to seek treatment. To live within this his land, now famously known as Chakahola, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, fast to death as we is one way to see God. Okay, so that's definitely a cult. And it says here the discovery of the mass grave in Shakahola Forest near the coastal town of Malindi has shocked Kenyans. And the president of Kenya already spoke, guys. And the way he spoke basically sealed the deal to this pastor. He said, we're going to bring this man to justice and he is going to be in jail for the rest of his life. And the president of Kenya was referring to Pastor Mackenzie. He said he's going to be in jail for the rest of his life. The authorities, the way they're finding these bodies is such a tragic event for the community over there. It says here the discovery of the mass grave in Chakahola Forest near the coastal town Malindi has shocked the Kenyans, and there are fears more corpses were found as the search teams on Earth 17 bodies on Tuesday, with investigators saying children made up the majority of the victim. Like, are you kidding me? Like, this is crazy. This is so sad. This is, I don't even know what to think. Um, to see that moms were coming in there with their children and to have their children die first because they were told by a pastor they need to fast to death. Okay, I wonder how they selected these people, because you have a church that can seat 45,000 people. Like, when we're not, this is why it's such a mess right now, because then you have other churches who are saying, if you want the breakthrough, you have to give a donation. I have had people, like I said before, that work with me in the past, and they have the way they see the church coming. I've been in church my whole life, right? Excuse me. So the way they see the church from the outside, they're like, oh yeah, the pastor, all they want is money. And you're like, no, but you want to come and like see how you like it. And yeah, but like, it's almost like they already made up their mind, they don't want to hear it, right? And then you go from people who are being told, being selected, that you're going to get closer to God, you're going to go to the forest and you're going to be fasting over there, right, with your children. You're going to see your children die, right, because they have no food. It's crazy. And then you have other churches on TV telling you, if you donate, you can be closer to God. And almost, they don't even just say as easy as I just said it, because I have seen some of these TV preachers, and I have seen the way they push it forward, and they always say, I know somebody here can donate $2,000 and you're gonna see the breakthrough in your life. Are you kidding me? Like, seriously? You're gonna look at God in your eyes and say, yeah, people don't need it. Yeah. And for what he's gonna say, depart from me, I never knew you. You're gonna come to God with all this work that you have done, and he's gonna turn around and say, depart from me, like I don't even know who you are. That's terrifying. We shouldn't be playing with fire here. The world is easily praying with fire. That's why they're celebrating Satan this weekend over there. The biggest gathering celebration happening right now in Massachusetts for Satan in Boston. And then the Church of Christ is killing people because they're going to get closer to God, telling people to donate, even if they don't care, if they cannot donate, telling them, manipulating them, playing the music slowly, right? What a form of manipulation. You guys don't think, like, I grew up in the church. I'm not saying that, you know, I'm not saying, so I gotta be careful here. I'm not saying that I've been serving in the church, so I know how it works. I'm not saying anything like that. All I'm saying is that you see, when you hear a preacher, even like what the ones that you see here on YouTube, you're like, man, the message is amazing. And right when they're at the end, here comes the call, right? Here comes the call. And it's like, if you really want God to work in your life, donate this amount. I know somebody here can donate this much amount. And that is so scary, and they do it so easily. It has been done year after year, generation after generation. And it's so sad because we are supposed to be the light of the world. And this is why so many people stay away from the church. And then you have other churches like the My Dad's Church, for example, because I know there's so many other ones, right? They're just, there's no difference. Why would I come here every Sunday if I can just go, and do see everything else someplace else? You guys do the same, you guys use the same music, you guys do the same clips, you guys are the same thing. Why would I, why would I change my life for what? Like, I can do both. I can have both feet, right? One in the world, one in the church. There's no need for a change. And God is all about change and transformation, right? God said, depart from me. Jesus said, go and sin no more, okay? God is all about transformation. So let me just say, Kenya's government has vowed to crack down on the fringe religious outfits in this large Christian community. So when you hear news like this, right, it's a slap in the face for the Church of Christ, because perhaps, you know people in the community, they're seeing, man, this new church is being built, 45K seats available. Maybe I'll think about it, maybe I'll go another day. And then they see something like this happen, you're like, this is why I never went. These people are all fake, they're killing people. Why would I go to a church like that, right? This is how the reputation that we give in the Church of Christ, Jesus Christ ministry that started over 200,000 years ago, right? And we should be the light in this world, and this is what's happening, right? So let me see if I can get more information. It's so sad, guys. And let me see another article here. It says the death toll from a suspected Kenya and starvation call. This is what they're calling it. They're no longer calling it the name of the church, right? I'll give you guys the name of the church. It says here, I think the church name is Life Christian, something like that. Let me just see if I find it now before, because I don't want to give you the wrong name. Just there's some people that has been speaking about it, but there's another pastor involved in this whole thing, and let me talk about him before I'm almost done. But his name is Ezekiel Otero, and pay attention to that name, guys, because this man is very well known over there. Um, as I'm searching it right now, I do apologize if you hear any type of noise. Um, he got arrested 2 days ago. So Ezekiel Otero, Pastor Ezekiel Otero, um, has been arrested in funeral home proof. Okay, it says here, Kenya Police have arrested popular televangelist and closed his church on the country Indian Ocean coast following report of mass death. The move comes after investigation go into a religious cult linked to the death of nearly 100 people. So somehow these two are related, connected to the whole case. Police have not formally connected the two cases, right? They just say they're not, but they have the pastor arrested and they actually closed his church, okay? Pastor Ezekiel Odero, framed for drawing huge crowd at his functions, was held hours after police inspected a funeral home near his church. Here we go again with the death, with the bodies. Another church in Kenya. What are they doing? What are they doing? It says here, Pastor Ezekiel, it says here, police say more attendants have been collecting bodies. I can't. This is so sad, Jesus. Oh, my Lord. Police said, it says here, um, morgue attendants have been collecting bodies at the New Life, that's the name of that church, the New Life International Church premises in Kilifi County. And this morning, it says, we have arrested Pastor Ezekiel Odero on allegations of the death that have been occurring at his premises. Coastal Regional Commissioner Rhoda told reporters. Kenya Interior Minister Kithure Kindiki said police have evacuated more than 100 people who were holed up at the church and that they will require to make a statement. So they are investigating. This is the big church that I was referring to. Apparently, these are two separate cases, but they're definitely connected because I'm sure, it's almost like, they're connected because of the pattern of work. Two pastors, two pastors that have big ministries over there, and now their bodies are being found in the backyard of their churches. Yeah, they are connected. This is a pattern, right? So it says here the preacher has not responded to allegations. He will appear in court on Friday. Police are also investigating his alleged relationship. Here we go to the controversial preacher Paul Mackenzie, which is the one that I spoke to before, who said they have told followers to starve themselves to death to meet Jesus. What are these pastors doing over there? It's almost like I hear God saying, "Time's up." He is exposing this. Okay, Jesus is exposing this, and it's like one after the other. Like he's just gonna put it out there for people to see. I'm just checking my time here. Let's not play with fire, guys, because everything that you do in the dark is gonna come out. Everything that you do in the dark is gonna come out. And Kenya already, like I said, for Pastor Paul Mackenzie, the president of Kenya, said he's going to be in jail for the rest of his life. That's what he said. And now for this other pastor who was also arrested because they're finding all this body. You build this church, 45,000 seats. You have, you know, such a blessing to build this church, and people are popping up dead in the backyard. What is happening? What is happening? So they're held 100 people from that church and being investigated right now. The wife of the pastor spoke today Saturday saying that the church is closed for the weekend just to keep praying that they do all the investigation that is needed, right? We'll see what happens, right? But this is so crazy and it is so sad. It says here that Paul Mackenzie, who said he tells his followers to starve to them to starve themselves in order to meet Jesus. Wow. Okay. Well, it is so sad, guys. Like I said, these are the moments that we should be utilizing to prepare for the returning of our Lord Jesus Christ, to tell people about Jesus. There's a world out there who need us, right? We can see it every day in the news, everywhere, in the conferences that they're doing to gather for Satan and celebrate Satan. the complete kingdom of darkness, right? And now the Church of Christ is basically doing all of this. Well, they call themselves the Church of Christ, so we'll see. I think that God is exposing it. It's time's up for all of this stuff. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening to this podcast or watching here on YouTube. Let me know what you guys think. And if you have an update about this case, this is basically all I gathered just for today. Like I said, this happened this week, basically. Let me know. Leave it in the comments, and you can email me. Thank you so much for being here. Have a good day, everybody. God bless.